All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the System 7 presented by EQNX. My name is Meyer and I'm joined by Mr. Croncy, and we have just had what has been probably the most explosive race that the System 7 has ever had. And we're going to be moving swiftly on to race number 2 very shortly. But Croncy, man, how was that race for you, man? That was crazy.
And I'm also muted on there. There we go. Sorry. Hello, everyone. I was just giving you all free gift cards to Star Citizen, so now none of you will get any money. Sucks to be you guys. Anyway, what I was saying. Yes, it was extremely explosive. I was still surprised that that we only had 2 people finish. I thought we would be
Right.
none. I truly thought we would have no one finish the entire race. It is just such a rough track. It's one of those tracks that's really cool, and I'm really excited to see it in the future. But a couple of things need to, sort of put themselves a bit more together in the game in order for it to really, really shine. But it's still such a cool track. So it's one that I really hope we continue doing over the course of the next couple of years. But 1 year, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I liked it. I did ask for it pretty much. I was like, I do hope somebody explodes, like, why not all of them? We were so close, 2 ships to go,
Yep.
it was unfortunate. We lost Circle Worm 200 meters from the finish line to the last tree in the entire course. But yeah, hopefully, as the System 7 progresses for this season, we will see, some more explosions, but perhaps also we'll see some more ships left on the track. I mean, with this next one, we have 6 heats of 4 racers. So I do believe that, and the track itself, as you mentioned, was flat too. So I do believe we'll see a very different kind of race, moving from endurance to a much more skill-based racetrack, which I do believe a lot of these racers have had a lot of time to practice as well, Croncy.
Yeah, this is gonna be a really, really interesting one as well. We were talking about how we had a couple of vehicle changes for some of these races, and for this one we're actually using the Nox, and by far the Nox is like the most used graveler vehicle in all of the arena commander tracks right now. It's just so fast, it's consistent, so we're gonna see some speed. It's gonna be really good. Now it sounds like we already have some cams ready to go, but I would like to, just before we look at that, if we can look at the map track map.
The track map,
those
yes,
for
the Cold Snap Speedway.
Cold Snap, that'd be really good, just so I can show everyone what we're going to be looking at today. Once again, we're going to be on Nox's today here on Microtech. We are on the frozen lake, so it is completely flat for where you are actually positioned, which means, for the most part, pretty much all of the races, I would imagine, are going to be at the lowest ride height for the maximum amount of speed, and essentially also the best maneuverability. So a lot of the skill for this one comes into how good you are at taking these turns, and in that little ice grip there, how good you are at not ramming into other competitors. As you can see on that turn there from ice grip into Frostbite Pass, gets really, really tight. So yeah, should be a very, very interesting one to look at there. In addition, let's have a quick look at the leaderboard so that you guys can see exactly how last race went and where we are sitting at going into race number 2. Still can't believe we're doing 2 races in one day and it's going this fast. It's kind of crazy. Blackhawks was able to finish that one up pretty quickly. Not to mention, even though we had as many explosions as we did, they still finished the race very fast. They actually went for some really fast laps. So they got their first place, 25 points for them. Delta Dietus finishing second and 18 points. All of our other team members, unfortunately, exploded. But Kakam Alpha were able to pick up 3rd place, getting 12 points. Star Prime Racing getting 4. Novak Racing getting 3. Amarox Fan getting 2. Argo Navis getting 2. And the rest of our teams getting 1.
All right. And yeah, so if we go back to that track map real quick, I mean, you did mention that, obviously, the racers will be, for the most part, strafed all the way down, hugging the ice, going as fast as possible. But there is one thing that I feel like isn't necessarily like factored in very much, and that's the fact that like normally when you're doing these races and you're doing a time trial, it's you, yourself, and your line. However, you have 3 other racers to contend with. So if you have a very similar line and a very similar like speed as somebody else, you have that to contend with as well. You know, like there's, I suppose, some degree of trusting in the other person, like using your exact line. But otherwise, you know, there is still going to be a lot of room here for some explosions, Croncy, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I guarantee it. I guarantee it. It's just going to be one of those things where the explosions are, due to a lot more skill versus luck, you know, and I think that's where we're going to see this sort of highlighted the most.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we've had a little bit of an issue at the racetrack. We've had some deaths. So why don't we go over the prizes that these people are going to be competing for over the next month and a half again? We'll get that up for you guys in a sec. If you didn't know, System 7, every year we have some amazing prizes that we give out to our top 3 teams at the end of the event. There's a nice little bonus there. So there you go. First place this year, getting that fantastic members jacket, as well as some Rover Lynxes and Crusader Hercules C2, so that you can move those rovers around, or you move those Dragonflies around, whatever you need in order to participate in next year's race.
That's right. And of course, in second and third place, they get slightly smaller trophies that don't say first place. They'll also be getting themselves some jerseys, and second place gets themselves the Origin 400i with an X1 velocity to boot. And of course, the third place will be getting themselves a CNOU Nomad and a hover quad as well. So those are the prizes for our contestants, Croncy. I was looking at the map earlier, by the way, and I noticed, and even though we're not using the X1 velocity today, and we're moving into using Noxes, the silhouette of that racetrack does have a very sneaking, look at that. It looks just like the X1, doesn't it? It even has like the leg flap.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. I can sort of see it. I'll tell you what it looks a little bit more like. The vehicle that StarCitizen have been posting on all their socials recently, some little spoilerinis for them that appears to be another new silver vehicle. Looks a little bit more like that. It's got like a weird, as far as we can tell from what they posted up on Twitter, it's got like a weird lip at one end. Not really sure what it's going to be. I imagine hopefully we'll see it next year for next year's System 7.
True. Got like some rounded edges to it and stuff as well. I mean, like the only ship that really does rounded bits really is MISC, but who knows? I mean, it could be Mirai.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm curious, man. We have so many Graveler vehicles, but CIG this year has said not enough.
I mean, look, they introduced the X1, certainly a crowd favorite. It's unfortunately just one of those instances where it's just not as good as some of the other hover vehicles right now, and so it's not seeing as much play, I guess. But it's one of the most beautiful ones they've released.
100%.
It is.
Like, you'd think that they would have tuned the X1 to be like OP or something, you know? Because it's so brand new, you'd expect that it'd be like up there, but no, it's actually balanced, or at the very least, it's not as OP as the other ships.
Yeah, no, it's really not. It did have one interesting case that I noticed with it. I took it out to Daymar to check it out when the Daymar rally was happening, and it felt a lot healthier than the Nox would in those situations. And the X1 is like pretty fast in comparison to the Dragonfly, but unfortunately, you still have that instance of essentially what we just saw in race number 1, where the Dragonfly is just so resilient that it was still essentially like the choice to make. You know. So while it might not be as fast as the fastest, and while it might not be as resilient as the most resilient, I am hoping it gets its little time to shine.
True. End of the day, it's an Origin jump work ship, so it's not supposed to be either. It's supposed to be sleek. You know, it's supposed to be. It's more like a statement than it is like something that's supposed to be climbing the meta. But who knows? I mean, with the future of the game, with things like tunings and that kind of stuff as well. But yeah. So we're just waiting now for our racers to get ready. We've had a little bit of a disruption. However, could we have a look again at the AVS charity event? We may as well mention that one more time today for race number 2. So next month, or I guess the month after now, the date has changed to June the 8th. Avenger Squadron and Atmo Esports are going to be having a fight or flight style event called the Flight for Kids charity tournament, raising money for the Sick Kids Hospital in Canada. And yeah, if you guys are interested in that, you can go check out AVS. You can, I don't know if signups are still open, but you can go check it out. And yeah, this should be just in time for 3-2-3 as well. So we're going to be seeing some high level of play competition for master modes and everything else for the combat or the space combat side of Star Citizen.
Yeah, it should be the first sort of competitive master modes tournament, at least of this scale when it comes out. And it's going to be great to see Avenger 1 teaming up with Atmo for that event. So yeah, make sure you guys check that one out. Should be a lot of fun and should also help us, see what the future of competitive space combat in the way that we get to see it through Fight or Flight may end up being for the foreseeable future.
So I did hear that they are raising money for like sim pods for for these kids. Like I think the goal is to make so I'm calling them sim pods because obviously citizens know what a sim pod is, right? But it's not quite that. They're called go-karts, and they're raising money for 2 of these things to be able to essentially have some games consoles equipped to them. So as the kids are recovering and getting better in hospital, they can do something, while they are there and while they're getting better. Like when I was younger, like when I was a kid once. Anyway, I had an operation, and like at a hospital there was like the I think it was like a NES system, so like and I still remember playing Gauntlet with with a whole bunch of other kids who were like also like getting better and stuff. So yeah, I feel like it's a really cool thing that they're doing. Gaming is for everyone, for everyone at every time. And yeah, I'm just excited to see all that too. Yeah,
it's gonna be fantastic. So it sounds like we have a new Hercules out. We've got some new vehicles coming out in a second, getting ready for this first heat. We've gone through 1 race today. We've got 6 left, and our first heat today is going to be Captain Chaos from Lease Motorsport, Isotope from Venture Origins 2, I want to say Yukin Oken from Wildcards Racing, and Luce 08 from Premier Core Colonial.
All right.
Where are you going with this, Maya? Who do you think is going to take top spot of heat number 1?
Well, I mean, Lease Motorsports showed us some really, really, really fast times over in the qualifier Croncy. So I think all eyes, or at least my 2, are going to be on them. We'll see if they can do what they did for the Gravlev bikes. I mean, or it's for the PTVs with the Gravlev bikes. I think another team to watch. I mean, all these are really like interesting teams. Isotope was really fast with their Dragonfly earlier on in race number 1. There was just an issue, of course, with the terrain and exploding and stuff at the night. But Wildcard Racing, apparently, from what I could see in chat, this is their first Atmo Esports racing event. They're new to racing altogether. So it's going to be interesting to see with little to nothing to lose, how they do, and how it'll be cool to see if they outshine other racers. But when it comes down to it, Croncy, I think I have my money on Lease Motorsport. Or at least I have my UEC on them, to be fair. What about yourself?
Well, purely going off qualifiers last or 2 weeks ago, Lease Motorsport were our top qualifier period, even beating out our pre-qualifying times from Punch Namies, Blackhawks, and Amaroks Fang. They pulled a 1:15.482 to actually qualify for the System 7. So they're obviously a huge favorite in this heat. However, their competitors were right next to them, right? So once again, they're going to be competing against Premier Core Colonial, who were literally the next fastest with a 1:16.224 for teams that needed to qualify. So it is going to be an extremely tough first heat. The only teams that I would maybe not want to compete against other than those 2 would be our pre-qualified teams. They have obviously a lot more experience participating in these really team-based events. That we've seen in the previous years, them actually specifically say this person's going to run our Gravlevs, this person's going to run our PTVs, and so on. So I'm going to say Premier Core Colonial because they were also probably one of the most impressive teams at our final practice that we had about a month ago. Yeah, like to see what they can do. So that's where my UEC goes.
All right. It's cool to see all the love in chat for all these different groups as well. We have some guys shouting in chat for Least Motorsport and also Wildcards too. Best of luck to all these teams as we go into the first heat. But yeah, I mean, all things considered, man, I'm looking forward to it because again, with the new with the Clio track on the in Arena Commander, I do feel as if like it's put a fire in me for watching these shorter like Gravlev races and stuff, and to have that but with the Atmo treatment is going to be really fun to watch for sure, Croncy.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic one. We were on such a roll today. It was such a good start. Now we've had that one unfortunate issue. So we're going to come back in a little bit, guys, with our teams getting ready once again. Hopefully we'll be seeing them nice and ready at the starting line. We've got technically 6 more races coming at you, but once we start heat number 1, it's going to be right after the other guys. It's going to be back to back to back to back. So stay tuned. Race number 2 of the System 7 very, very soon. See you soon.
Wanted to
through, but don't worry. We're going to have a bunch of racing coming up any moment now, I swear. But in the meantime, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about because we're essentially right at the start of the System 7. We only just had race number 1. This is a series of 7 races, guys. There's a lot of different tracks that we're going to be visiting over the course of the next month and a half. And so we wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about them, starting with race number 3, which we're going to be going to in 2 weeks' time over on Clio. This is a returning track from last year, except now we're reverse snake pit, which at the moment, just in general, on every form, reverse snake pit has been a ton of fun. We're going to be using the Tumbrel Cyclone RC. However, Maya, if you're familiar, which to be fair, it's very possible 323 could be in the works or in some sort of stage that we can play it when this comes out. But if you're not familiar, boost no longer exists. Or we can't boost with the Cyclone RCs anymore. So it's going to be an extremely different race versus last year. We first off are running it backwards, but then in that, also not having boost. So now it's all going to be about how consistent your turns are and consistent your lines are. And if you want to be risky on that big long pipe that goes over the course of the entire snake pit and want to risk falling over. What do you think, Maya? You've had a chance to have a look at it now, and you've seen this one. What do you think of the track?
I mean, of the track is a pretty interesting one. Honestly, like you mentioned, right? Like this is your favorite like track of all the ones that we're going to be doing. So I think that like when it comes down to it, like there's some pressure on the track, not just the racers, but the
Mm-hmm.
snake that we have for the Gravlev race, like in Arena Commander, that's not reverse though, is it? That's
Yep.
the normal rail route. You don't go over the
Well, we
pipe,
have
right?
both.
Okay.
We don't go over the pipe. We never go over the
No.
pipe, but reverse snake pit is now a thing in Arena Commander that you can do in the Gravlevs, and is personally one of my favorite tracks to do on Arena Commander right now. I love snake pit ever since they introduced it in, I want to say 317 whatever, before it was in Arena Commander or anything. It was like one of the
Mhm.
317 patches where they introduced it. They dressed it up around and they made this nice cool track for the racing community. And then using Gravlevs and Cyclones on it has been a ton of fun. Also, not to mention taking some Nova Tonks on the snake pit and doing a little bit of racing, but with guns active, has also been quite a lot of fun. So this is going to
Yeah.
be a very exciting one, especially to see just how different it is versus last year.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, because of course, we used to use the Cyclone RC as our qualifying vehicle back in the
Hmm.
Stanton 7. The Cyclone RC does have a close place in my heart. It's also red, which is a
Yep.
good color to be for a vehicle. Uh, so
This is
yeah,
actually the
like
first year we haven't done that track with the Cyclone RC as our qualifiers. This is the first year
true.
we've done it every year, but so it's been exciting to watch and see how different it is.
Yeah, it'll be nice to have a return to form to the Cyclone RC. Some of our older racers will obviously have
Hmm.
more time on this vehicle in general, so it'd be cool to see them come through and see what they can do. It's sad we didn't get to see Current Team Racing go through, obviously because of that unfortunate
Hmm.
accident that happened, in the qualifier. Because of course that's one of their trusty vehicles, right? That's the one they always go for and stuff. But yeah,
Yep.
altogether, race 3 is going to be pretty interesting. I don't believe there are any
Yep.
changes from this. Like, there are no vehicle changes or anything. Like, what you see here is what you're going to be getting in 2 weeks' time, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
the only thing that is different about the Cyclone RC than we've seen in the last really few years is when they did the updates to ground vehicles. The Cyclone RC got hit very hard, and
Right.
now has no boost. But it means it has its own other little quirks and stuff that it didn't used to have before. Let's move on to race number 4, which you guys will be seeing. Race number 4 and 5 we are doing in 4 weeks' time on the same day, similar to what we're doing today. And that one is going to be Cargo Crisis with the Grey Cat STV. I love these little platforms that are around that you can do this little racing with around the cargo spaces and whatnot. And yeah, we're going to be doing this around in a PTV.
Yeah,
STV, sorry.
the Montreal team really outdid themselves, honestly, with all these like little locations, because like there is no feasible gameplay to be had here within Horizon, but we've made it.
Mhm.
We made that feasible gameplay, you know?
They said you
Like
can't ground vehicle on a cloud planet, and we just said that's a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very intricate track. It's very well thought out. I am looking forward to this one a lot. There's a bit of a crossover there in the center, so there
Hmm.
is a chance there for our faster racers to meet our slower racers here, and have an argument. Like swap insurance information. But yeah, like a 10-lap circuit here. For
Yep.
this track here for the Cargo Crisis above the clouds of Auras and Croncy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one
Yep.
specifically. I love Horizon so much.
It's going to be good fun. Moving on to race number 5, where we are staying on Orison and we're going back to the qualifiers to see how our teams do in heats of 4 this time. And let me tell you, it is very different when you only have so much space to move around. You can essentially fit maybe 3 PTVs side to side, but like right on each other at any point in the track. So it's a much, much tighter situation than we're even going to see here today with race number 2. You guys all got to watch the qualifiers last week. You know that this is going to be very fast. We've had our competitors practice this a ton, not just so they can qualify, but also so they can get the points here. There's something interesting about any of the heat-based races that we do, in that it feels like you get a little bit rewarded more for how much practice you put in, because you've got the the runner-up finals and stuff to go through, rather than
True.
just a single race to prove yourself. So that should be an interesting one. We saw only one explosion during the qualifiers, and essentially almost like no wheels fell off any PTVs. I imagine that is going to very much change when everyone is wheel to wheel with each other.
That's right. I mean, like, we have our fastest racers in the verse now neck and neck here for race 5. So unlike the time trials where they're just by themselves, yeah, we're gonna be having some really fast racers. Maybe perhaps not at the beginning heats, but like for the finals and the losers finals for sure. You know, rubbing rubber like on their way to try and get some good times in. I feel like we're gonna see some explosions because these PTVs, I mean, like they may look like golf carts, but they're nuclear-powered golf carts.
Let's move on to race number 6 for another new racetrack in the series. This is going to be Whiteout over on, I believe it's, Lyria. So this one we're going to be using the RSI links, the brand new RSI links, the fancier version of the regular links that we finally got to see during the course of the Daymar Rally, which was kind of cool. I do think you are deducted points if you spill any champagne, unfortunately. So some out of rules there. But yeah, it should be a very, very interesting one. This one, it's a lot smaller. Just for sort of context, it's the same kind of race as race number 1, where it's a bit more of an endurance style, open terrain style race, but a lot smaller because the Lynx is obviously not as fast as a Dragonfly is. So this is another one where a lot of it is going to be about you practicing this one and figuring out some, like, very specific lines. Every hill, every cavern you want to take, you're going to want to memorize. Yeah, that is race number 6.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one just because, I mean, like, it's a different vehicle. I mean, like, it's the Lynx. Why they chose the Lynx over the Rover, I'm not too sure, but I'm all for it.
I mean, it's just fancier. That's all that matters.
It's just fancier. Deal with it.
And then, of course, we come to race number 7, the final race in the System 7. Back to a favorite, as we are at the end of every System 7, with the Lorville Loop. This is our relay style race that we use here for the System 7, where at each one of those gate checkpoints that you can see are marked there, gate 3, gate 4, and gate 6, they will actually be changing their vehicles and then continuing along their path, starting off with the STV, heading into an Ursa Rover, then onto the Cyclone RC, and to finish it off with the Drake Dragonflyer, which also is really, really fun to fly around the back there of Lorville, where you go down into kind of a valley of just death and explosion. So it is a lot of fun. We did get to experience the Lorville Loop with all of the new stuff that Lorville had last year, and it's great. It's super, super cool looking. It's changed a lot over the course of the years, and it's been great to see it change, but certainly one of my favorite races to watch every single year.
Yeah, I mean, like, so back during the Stanton 7, before the glow up of Lorville, there was some small issues out there with, like, insta-death zones and the way that all that works. This is a whole new world, or at least a whole new Lorville. And yeah, I cannot wait to see how this one works, because it's a very interesting, very well thought out track. The fact you can go grab your vehicles from the gates and stuff and do all this is really interesting. But also, you know, it gives us a chance to showcase, you know, like a CIG's like vision, I guess you want to call it, for like how the city is actually set up. Because it's very interesting that there's a whole quarry behind that giant CBD, you know, like the central business district. Like it's really cool. I mean, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll see at least one explosion with a dragonfly towards the end if we don't see anything else elsewhere.
Yeah, very much so. So that's all the tracks that you guys are going to be experiencing over the next month and a half or so. Once again, I do want to mention Beacon, the event that is coming up very, very soon that Maya is going to be heading on over to, and I know a bunch of our other Atmo team are going to be there for you guys to meet. Huge event. If you haven't been, please go, so I can live vicariously through you. It's a little bit far away to go from Australia, unfortunately, but I always love seeing everyone's videos and images and everything that they take with everyone. Like I said, I'm 90% sure the largest Star Citizen gathering outside of CitizenCon.
Oh, 100%, Croncy, 100%. Yeah, they're the self-styled the Belgian Convention for Video Games, Digital Arts, and their professions. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a couple days long, I believe. And on May the 10th and 11th, I do believe tickets are still on sale. And yeah, like this Star Citizen, but also DCS, Flight Simulator, Star Wars, and gaming brackets.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. I think we do have some stuff ready to go. We're going to head over to them now. So we had an issue with heat number 1. So we're actually going to be starting with heat number 2, which for your reference, guys, is going to be Catcom Alpha, Wildcards Racing, Premier Core Colonial, and Argo Navis. That's who we're going to be seeing, in this heat here.
All right. I think all eyes are going to be, in that case, on Premier Core Colonial, hailing from France. That's Luce08, who's going to be their racer. We have, of course, another debutante to the stand-in, or the System 7, as it's not called, Wildcards Racing, racer Yakan Oken. We got Circa Worm, who came in a third place in race number 1 from Capcom Alpha. And of course, we have Maxane from Argo Navis as well. These 4 races are going to be lining up, and it'll be shortly good to go, Croncy.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. A reminder of how this is going to work with our heat system is that we have 4 heats, and you just need to come first or second in your heat. If you come second, you're going to advance to the runner-up finals. If you get first, you're going to advance to the finals. And that's how you're going to get your points for this one. So it's very different to the race that we just did of how you're going to get your points. So we'll see what's going. Looks like they're about to start. Just waiting on the go-ahead.
Yeah, and it might be a dark start to this, but I do believe, according to the timer here, that the sun might rise here on this moon in the next 15 or so minutes here, Croncy. So we're gonna see, at least as viewers, we're gonna see like 2 very different cold snap speedways for sure here.
Yeah, hopefully we do see that, especially because on Microtech, I was just talking, like an hour ago or so when we were talking about the visuals when you are in the green zone of Microtech being very easy to see because there's just not like storms in the green zones for the most part. So it doesn't matter the lighting issues, all that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, we're no longer in the green zone. And so that now does become a problem where it is going to be, if the wind's going to pick up,
Yeah, in more ways than one. This is gonna be a precarious race indeed. So I really do hope that our racers here have practiced. I wonder if we have an aerial view of this map, because I think it might be cool to see. You can see we have 3 racers here ready to go. At the very least, 3 racers with their lights on. I think there is one last racer on the far left there who is also good to go.
Yeah, I think we're waiting on our 4th at the moment just to get up there, just to get ready to go. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Remember, there's a couple of instances in this track where collisions with opponents is going to happen. Or if it's not, it's going to be a thing that's going to force everyone to slow down quite a bit. So get very excited for this. A reminder that this is Heat 2. We're skipping Heat 1 because we had an issue with one of our races. They're going to, that'll happen afterwards. We wanted to get some action for you guys ready. So we've just skipped forward ahead a little bit. But yeah, it should only be a moment of time. We've just got one issue with one racer right now.
That's right. We will head back to Heat 1. They're not going anywhere, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Here we go. I do see the timer has started. So do you want to take this one, Maya, or am I going to take this first one?
You can take this, and then I'll take the next one.
Okay. We got a lot of heats, so me and Maya are going to get a lot of recordings of ourselves doing our countdowns. But the 1 minute timer has started. So, very excited.
All right. Okay, I don't know why.
Who have you got going? Who have you got going? Quickly, who's going to win?
Oh, dude. I mean, like,
because it's T2.
Let's go. Argo Navis.
Argo Navis. All right, I'm going to go for Premier Core Colonial. I think
all right.
We're going to take this one.
Cheaters.
Right,
I mean, they're not cheaters. You're a cheater for choosing the fastest qualifier.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Heat number 2. All right, so the delay is about 3 seconds. I feel like I can time myself for that if I
All
try
right.
hard enough.
Okay,
Very
they're
fast
off.
out of the gates here. Once again, this was going to be one of the races where we're going to see some speed as they are on the lake. So there are obviously still terrain things for our competitors to watch out for, but you don't need to worry as much about changing your height, which means you can essentially go as fast as you can the entire race.
Yeah, and it looks like two racers here are doing just that. They're neck and neck. Oh no, a first explosion and one dead stop. What just happened?
I think, one explosion and then I think one collision,
You're
but they
right.
seem to be alive. That is brutal. That is absolutely brutal. You
Man.
could see they were trying to cut in on that line there, but they did seem to collide with, you can see these big, I don't know if it's ice or rocks, whatever these big sort of glacier-esque things are, colliding with one of those coming out of that turn. And that has given, whoever we're watching right now, has given them the opportunity to make that time up, come around that turn. And, they started off slow, but they're making their way through now.
Yeah, rip Avaria there. That was unfortunate, but yeah, so far so good. Look at this racer right now in the front, hugging the ice as low as possible, going as fast as possible around this cut as well. They are taking no chances here. In fact, I guess they're doing the opposite, Croncy. They're going super fast. But what's going on? What's interesting to see is that both racers have
Too wide. Too wide. That's one of those sections that we were talking about where it really sort of corrals them in between the center there. Came around that turn very fast, but unfortunately a little bit too wide, slamming into the rock or the hill. It was a little bit hard to tell there, but either way, just going right into the side of it. It's super cool how fast you can go on this track, but it does mean if you ever have a turn like that, it's almost guaranteed death. Capcom Alpha is going to be our first across the line here. We'll get there we go. AAWA Drunken Turtle Racing do have the DNF, which means if Argo Davis get past where AAWA are, we definitely have our first and second slot. The question is going to be who's going to come first, who's going to come second.
Yeah, what's been interesting has been exactly when these racers choose to apply boost, because we saw oh wow, another collision there, but somehow they did not explode. But yeah, essentially around certain straights, you would see one racer just overtake at maximum speed while one goes slow, and then the other one will then reciprocate on another turn. It does seem I guess obviously not all racers train together, so not all racers have the same kind of knowledge of the track, or at the very least the same understanding of when to use the boost and how to use the boost. But yeah, I mean so far it's ended up in two competitors out of 4 here. Well, unfortunately not being able to make it through.
Yeah, it's super rough, but it's just the Nox is just so fast. It's so fast. It's also really interesting, once again, because we've now got the ability to take it through Arena Commander and run through all of these Gravlev races. It's really interesting to see sort of where the limits of the Nox turning is. I would highly recommend anyone who wants to give Gravlevs a try in Arena Commander, go and head over to there and try to do Cleo Islands. It's going to be a great track to actually kind of describe what's happening here. It's very similar in a lot of aspects to how this one runs. And it'll sort of show you that a lot of it really just does come down to finding the sweet spot for your turns, because you'll be going fast for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen it, I've tried it, I wasn't so good at it myself. I mean, again, when it comes down to it, watching these guys, I mean, it takes a lot. I want to say for almost every single vehicle, I mean, the PTV included, to get up and get past that skill floor and be able to land these times consistently without collisions and all that stuff. It's really cool to see people take it this far to this level. And yeah, so far, I mean, we have Capcom Alpha here doing just that. Circa Worm there, third place in our last Gravlev race here, coming through yet again to show us how it's done, Croncy.
Yeah, definitely. We have Circa Worm. Current fastest lap is a 137.54. Max Sane still on their lap number 2, as far as I can tell. Fastest lap at 239. I imagine they're just taking it nice and slow now just to confirm that they get that second place position, or possibly waiting on Circa Worm to perhaps go a little bit too hard on one of these turns. I mean, this speed is incredibly intense and not very self-preservational. So we could see anything happen before the end of the race. A reminder that it is 5 laps today for each of these heats, but as you can tell, incredibly fast. And there we go, Argo Navis getting into the 3rd lap there. Current total time, 5 minutes, 6 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like, when it comes down to it, I mean, Capcom Alpha here with the fastest lap of 1 minute and 37 seconds, 0.54 is just shy of 1 minute. I mean, 1 minute faster than Maxon from Argo Navis there. So yeah, like, I think we got a clear-cut racer here who will make it to the winners final. Oh, we just saw an explosion right behind. Was that Maxon?
There is always an equal chance, regardless of what we're watching, that it is actually Papa Freedom, one of our camera people, who is colliding with something. So we always wait for that confirmation.
Right. Yes.
Often has more explosions than our competitors themselves.
Very true. I saw the Xi'an blue explosion and kind of like I guess thought the worst, but thankfully it was only Papa Freedom.
Yeah. So yeah, incredibly fast starts here, and even the 2 collisions that we did see, the racing once again incredibly fast. Just some super wide turns, unfortunately, for at least in the term of AAWA, super wide turn to get them out of the race. Eva Ria with unfortunately that sharp turn ramming them into the rock. Really shows you once again that this race is super skill intensive, and it's fast. And I'm loving it. This is the kind of race that I really, really enjoy watching in the S7. So hopefully our other heats, we get some more of this incredibly fast, incredibly quick-paced, incredibly skilled maneuvering action.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. And it's only going to get even more intense as we make our way through into the winners finals, because, you know, like when it comes down to it, a lot of these tracks to be able to be the fastest requires a lot of time, a lot of practice. And yeah, like I think with 50 seconds faster than our second place right now, it would be nice to see that level of competition kind of like level out here for the finals and also the losers finals as well.
Yeah. So Circuworm on his final lap here, lap number 5. Finishing this one up. Just need to cross the finish line to make sure that Argo Navis doesn't steal this first place from you, Circuworm. All right. Don't get too greedy here. And Argo Navis also finishing their 3rd lap. They're approaching their 4th now. So we're definitely, like I said, we know who are going to be our first 2 players to move on to some later heats. The question is, do you think Team Argo Navis are going to take it a little bit more risky when they get into their finals?
I mean, I suppose they might do, especially since if we're going to be getting daytime here on this rock anytime soon, at the very least, they'll have more visibility and perhaps more confidence to try and do so. But yeah, I mean, like, everything is down to practice at the end of the day, you know, like, and even if you are super practiced on a racetrack, obviously, you know, the more time you have on it, then of course, the better you'll be. So when it comes down to their next heat, I'm sure they'll be a little bit warmer, Croncy.
I do want to say I very much appreciate the way that we can see the sort of light blob from the Gravlevs as they travel through. It makes it a lot easier rather than us just seeing the light in front. And here we go, Circuworm, our first one to finish for race number 2. Fastest lap of 1 minute 37. And we're gonna try to track that over the course of these heats, see who can get a faster hot lap over the course of this. And that is going to also mean Argo Navis is going to be our 2nd place and is going to move on to the runners-up finals as well. So first 2 players locked in, some fantastic races, and that is the first of 6 heats that we're going to see today.
All right. And what was neat to see there as well, in that lower third, was that apparently a Circuworm is racing with a gamepad, which, I mean, like, isn't unheard of, but it's neat to see. When you race, Croncy, what do you use? Hose-ass?
Sort of. I use, like, it is Hose-ass, but my left is an Omni throttle. So it has all of the movement of a stick, but the, like, way that you place your hand is like a throttle. And that's what I prefer the most. I like the feeling of that. It's very pod racy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I enjoy the most. But the fact that we do have such a wide variety of controller choices, literally ranging from like mouse and stick all the way to, you know, full on race sim wheels and stuff is really cool. And it's great to see that we're at least in this stage of there is no like, if you want to be the fastest meta racer, you have to use this one sort of controller. We're still in the realm of, you know, just use what you're used to. It is great. I really like that.
Yeah, CIG have done a really good job at what they call controller parity, trying to make sure that it doesn't matter what you pick up, you'll be able to play the game. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what other people are using, you know, like especially when it comes down to our finalists too, you know, like because it just goes to show you don't necessarily need a, you know, like an expensive sim pod to be able to play SC at its peak. You know, you just need to have the time and the willpower, and you can use whatever. But at the same time, that sim pod does help with immersion for sure.
So yeah, Maxane just finishing up their final lap here. They have had a fastest lap of 2:21.044. So even though they did take it quite a bit slower, still pretty reasonably fast for what this race is, especially with what we saw right at the beginning of the first two laps. So extremely respectable. I do just wonder, as I sort of said, you know, like, are they holding it a bit back right now just so that they can, you know, confirm that they finished this race? Is this how they may take the runners-up finals? Who knows? Are we going to see more collisions and stuff like this? It is one of those races where, you know, those players that do take those riskier, faster lines, it's not as risky here as it was in race number 1, but it can still result in a DNF, right? So where is everyone going to line up? It's really interesting. But yeah, it's definitely a good heat one for us to you know, get a bit of perspective.
Yeah, I feel as if Eva Ray didn't explode earlier, I mean, they were doing really well. They were in the lead, I believe, as well, taking around an inside corner. But sadly, with this track in particular, a lot of it comes down to, there we go, there's Max Star from Argo Navis finishing in second place there with a full race time of 1 minute and, well, a full lap time of 1 minute and 58 seconds, actually. So they beat their previous one.
I love it. Well, it's their full race time is 11 minutes 58 seconds. Their fastest lap was that last lap with 2 minutes and 3 seconds, 0.156. So still, they definitely sent it a lot faster in that last lap there, which is great, awesome. I'm really
they
glad
built up
to
the
see
confidence.
that as exactly. Now it is going to take us a little bit of time, guys, to remove some of the wrecks that now reside on the track there. Hopefully not too long. But what we might do, we might just go on a quick break. I need to get myself some water. Maya needs to get himself some water. But we'll be back very, very soon. This is going to be a quick one, guys. Just need to make sure that we're hydrating as much as the competitors are. So we'll be back very soon.
Oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the... You're sitting down? What's going on? You up? You down?
I'm sitting down. It's illegal. Go to views. Go to views. Get me away from here. I'm not allowed to be sitting down.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Croncy Sitting Down during the System 7. My name is Meyer, and we're just about to start race number 2, Heat 1. We had Heat 2 a second ago. Heat 1 is now ready to go. We have all our racers in position, and we're just going to go straight into it. All right, let's cut to cams and have a look and see what's going on here. All racers are on the track. We've got Captain Chaos from Lease Motorsport, Isotope Adventure Origins 2, Yakin Oken from Wildcards Racing, and Lush08 from Premier Corps Colonial. All right, well, with all that said and done, Croncy.
It is possible we may have the wrong races. I think we have some up, or you said the wrong way around. I'm not sure. I'd have to remember again. But yeah, Captain Chaos, Tubi, Gilly, and Isotope is who we're about to go watching. Who you going for? Who you going for this one? I know we said it before. I immediately forgot who we had said originally for Heat 1. So who do you think is going to take this one home?
Well, I think it's going to be. I mean, like, my money's on Wildcard Racing, but my eyes are on Premier Corps Colonial. And Lease. All of them. Croncy, this is too difficult, okay? All right, I mean, on paper, Lease Motorsport are the ones to watch. They did so good during the qualifiers. However, all 4 of these teams, I think, are heavy contenders here. But we have a lot of support here for wildcards, so I guess I should say wildcards.
Yeah, I think I do remember I said Premier Corps Colonial. They just had such an outstanding performance, both at our qualifiers as well as our like last practices that we had for the qualifiers about a month ago. That they're a team that's really impressing me, and I think they're about to impress me again. I really hope that those struts there in the center of the lake are in fact not actually there. That is could be an interesting.
Could be a very interesting start for sure. Yes. The C8R there, probably so just not waiting. Living up to its name.
Yep.
All right.
There we go. 1 minute timer has started, guys. We're about to get ready. Maya's going to be doing this one, and we're going to hope that Maya remembers how to count down from 10. It's been a while.
It's been such a long while, but we'll see. Okay. All right. Yes, once again, we have Lease Motorsports. We had that small...
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, I'm very glad we had that small break. I am very refreshed.
Nice. We have Lease Motorsports, Premier Corps Colonial 1cc. We have Wildcard Racing and Venture Origins 2. We'll see which one of these races will make their way through into the winners' finals and who will end up in runner-up. And hopefully we don't see too many explosions, but let's see. Let's go in 10 seconds. Racers for Heat number 1. We're about to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Lovely. We need some more light. Oh, no. We're not going to be able to see the races. We've only got 2 lights on. There we go. A lot easier to see them now.
Okay, so our races here are neck and neck. You can see the lights almost kind of like cutting through both of those vehicles. We have our first explosion already. Was that a spectator or was that was Gilly22 from Wildcards? Rip.
Yeah, a little collision there after coming out of a turn. Whoa! That's another player collision just there as they go into that tight turn that we were talking about a little bit earlier. So we're already down 2 races. We'll find out who the second one is here in a moment. From what we can tell, Venture and Lease Motorsports may be the only 2 races left on the field here. One interesting thing is, though, even though we can only see one race's lights, we can see all of the sort of like spawned up like snow from our other racer. Oh, there they go. They're just flashing their lights.
Yeah.
Hello. But we can still sort of get a bit of an estimation of where they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, unfortunate, but we're down to 2 racers yet again here, Croncy, and we're only in a lap number 1.
Yeah, I do imagine, obviously we haven't gotten a confirmation yet, but I do imagine that it was Premier Corps Colonial that was that second explosion, just based on where we're getting our racing updates at the moment. Extremely rough, but once again on those 2 sort of tighter turns there. And there we go. Captain Chaos QC with 134 crossing the line. Yeah, there we go. Premier Core, Colonial Tubi with a DNF, unfortunately. So we know who our 2 races are going to be that are going to go ahead. However, these races are much closer than our remaining 2 races were in that first heat that we just watched. So this could be anyone's game. It obviously matters a lot more. There's a big difference in points for just even getting into the finals versus the runner-up finals. So it matters. This matters a lot.
That's right, Croncy. We have Captain Chaos here in the lead for Least Motorsports with Isotope right behind for Venture Origins. And yeah, this is super tight. And yeah, all it's going to take is one small mistake, one missed opportunity here, and you're either going to get one more explosion or somebody's going to overtake. But it doesn't look, at the very least for now, that we're going to get any player-on-player collisions. With 2 vehicles like this, with 2 racers who seem to be so... you're laughing because you're like, it's gonna happen, Meyer.
It's exactly, yeah. I was look, in my head I was agreeing with you. And then
collision.
You said, not an explosion, but that's huge right there. I mean, we were just watching how close they were for pretty much the entirety of the first 2 laps. And then that is a huge time loss, not to mention it's right at the start of a straight. So they've lost a ton of speed, they've lost a ton of time. It's going to be very hard for them to make that one up, and they were already kind of struggling and getting ahead. Captain Chaos is going to cross into lap number 3 with a 126. What was that? Sorry, it disappeared before my brain could even watch it. A 126.628.
That's right. And it looks like Isotopes is now through as well into the next lap, but fortunately for them, they did not explode. However, because they are the second vehicle here and they are alive, it will mean that they will be moving into the runner-up finals regardless here. But it'll be nice to see them try and overtake, or try and at least stick in this for the next 2 laps to see what will happen. And look at that! Venture Origin clips a rock and slows down. Perhaps not enough for Least to overtake, but now the competition is surely back on yet again now, Croncy.
Yep, mistake trades mistake there. They're essentially right back where they were in the previous lap. This is about how far away they were from each other. So that's a huge chance for Least Motorsports to regain there. And that's exactly what's happened. So this is great in that this is definitely the heat where either player makes a mistake, you're done. You have to they have the experience on capitalizing on it a ton.
Oh
no! Least Motorsports with the explosion there. You saw them go up and across that little mound. That, especially when you're at lowest ground height to try to get higher speed, often results in collisions and explosions. That's going to be Isotope out of that DNF'd, but guaranteeing themselves still a spot in the runner-up finals for the heats, and Least Motorsports are guaranteed in the finals. So that's with that one mistake there, that settled this race here. We'll see what happens with lap times, but that was that. I was actually not expecting that. Like, they were getting riskier because they knew they were right on top of each other, trying to take some other routes. In fact, Venture Origins out. Sorry, I may have mistakenly said that. Venture Origins with a monster glide. I had thought that it was Captain Chaos. I am mistaken. Sorry, yes, so that is Isotope from Venture Origins with the collision. But yeah, that's going to be huge for them. That one mistake essentially settling this race once and for all. Wow.
So we had seen them cut that corner before as well in the previous lap, and I think it slowed them down there as well. Or at least I think I saw one other racer try doing exactly that. So yeah, unfortunately for them, that has cost them the race there. But here we have Least Motorsport here for lap number 4, going through nice and smoothly here through this track here, Croncy.
Yeah, so this is just going to be settling it up, getting their times in. Once again, Captain Chaos with a 126.62 is their fastest lap so far. And I believe the fastest lap we've seen so far today, never mind, a 125.698 to make me eat my words as I'm saying them. An incredibly fast time, though. The interesting thing that when Venture Origins did have that explosion there is they were also going very wide. In terms of the track, not just the turn itself, but the track itself is actually a lot tighter than that. I do wonder if that was in response to the previous turn where they had the collision that made them a lot slower. Maybe they were thinking they could improvise some sort of turn there to avoid that, but obviously didn't work out for them in that stage. And it still resulted in that lap and a half that we saw so far, the best fighting we've seen today. And already, I guess, yeah, of the current System 7, the best fighting we've seen. So let's get some more of that. Let's get some more hardcore competitive fighting in between some of these races.
That's right. More, please. But yeah, I mean, so far, at least Motorsport has cut that top time by 12 seconds, Croncy. We'll see if they're going to do any better here for lap 5, because even if they don't have any personal competition here on this heat, at the very least, you know, they're still trying to make up for time here and see what they can do and how fast and how hard they can push their ship.
I would actually recommend they go as slow as possible so that our next heat has all the time in the world in order to get ready for the next. No, I'm joking. Go as fast as possibly can. They're coming around now. I believe this is the final turn before the race finish. Indeed, it is. And they're going to close it off. 7 minutes, 35 seconds for their entire lap time. Very, very fast. And some fantastic performance there that we saw. Even though we saw a bunch of mistakes from both Lise and Venture, Lise sticking cool, you know, not losing too much distance when they had that collision in lap number, I believe it was 3. Sorry, it was lap number 3. So well done. Very, very well done, Lise Motorsports, for getting into the finals. And Venture Origins, well done for getting to the runner-up finals.
That's right. So now we're going to be moving on to Heat 3 very shortly. And as you can see from these really cool camera angles here, the sky seems to be warming up with these heats here, Croncy. Yes. We might get some daytime very soon.
Warming up with the heats?
That's right. You're not the only pun master here, Croncy.
So our next heat should be, assuming that we've got everything ready to go in a moment, our next heat should be Ludox for Blackhawks, Tyrus Rex for Garden Racing, Big Flex for Amarok's Fang, and Renlos Malik for Star Prime Racing. All of these teams, very well known in the racing community. Once again, this will be Garden Racing's first time in the S7, but definitely not their first time racing. They had an absolutely amazing performance at the DMR Rally, so very excited to see how they go. And Blackhawks and Amarok's Fang, 2 of our teams that auto-qualified this year for getting top 3 in the System 7 last year. So expect some fantastic performances from them. And Renlos Malik, a name that you will know in Star Citizen lore if you follow racing, an absolutely fantastic performer. So should only be a little bit of time before we get this one ready. They've been quite quick here.
So what's interesting about this next heat coming up, Croncy, is that we do actually have the favorite vehicles of each racer here listed in these heats. And Blackhawk, who actually was our first place winner for race number 1, so they're coming in at 25 points. The Nox is their favorite vehicle to race with as well. The others within our list there, so Tyrus, Big Flex, and Renlos Malik all have chosen the Cyclone RC as their favorite racing vehicle. So it's going to be interesting to see if, they're going to be able to pull their favorite ship into new heights and get themselves even more points as we make our way through into Heat 3.
I will say, if it wasn't for them removing the boost from the Cyclone RC, I would probably say that the Cyclone RC is my favorite racing vehicle. But with Arena Commander Racing recently, with the Gravlev races, with Clio Islands and whatnot, and all of the really hard competition we've been getting there recently, the Nox has very quickly become one of my favorite vehicles to drive. It is so much fun. It turns really fun. I don't really know how else to describe it. It does really well.
I've seen people race.
It does what you want it to do.
Yeah,
you know
I mean, like, of all the vehicles that go fast or at a pace in Star Citizen, like the Nox, even though it flies on one, or I guess you could say it flies even though it hovers, right? On one plane.
Yep.
It's the most resplendent to me of like how racing almost used to be back in 2.x, where things are almost more fly by wire. Obviously, there's more like their forces to contend with, and there's lots of drag and stuff, and there is inertia. But when it comes down to it, that Nox still kind of has that feeling of like, just like, I want to go to there and I'm going there, like it's really cool. It almost feels like a different game, like F-Zero.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, now that we are 2 heats through our preliminary heats, I'll give our producer a little bit of time to get this ready. If we can look at the map for this racetrack, I want to show you guys a little bit about why some of these turns are a little bit harder than others, and also why we've been seeing collisions at pretty much 2 specific spots mostly today so far. There we go, lovely. Thank you very much, Cryo, my good friend. So yeah, this is the racetrack that we're participating these heats on here. Now, a reminder that because we're on the lake, it's essentially flat the entire way through, at least where you are, where the markers are. So you don't have to worry too much about your height being different. What you do have to worry about is the fact that you're going so fast that in some instances you're going to end up colliding with all of those things on the side. Now, the points
Right.
where we saw a lot of problems today. Aurora Borealis, that turn there is where we saw that collision from Venture. As they came in, they tried to go up the hill rather than in between the 2 sections there. That ended with them smashing into the ground there. For those that can't see, because it may be just a little bit too hard to see, it's essentially that middle turn right there, just above that sort of sea-looking landmass. The other place that we saw a lot of collisions is right down there in the bottom right, in between Ice Grip and Frostbite Pass. Now, this was one that I was expecting us to see quite a bit of issues, as it just funnels you into this really short area, and you can have a couple of problems. You can understeer as you come around it, and you're going to smash onto the inside of Frostbite Pass. You can oversteer, or you're going to just collide into someone else. That's where a lot of the problems are going to come in there. I really like that, though. I think it's a really good way for the track to be designed and give us, a bunch of different sort of strategies that you have to learn in each of these areas. Because as you can see, there's also a ton of straight sections. There's some great wide turns. Really, really great track. So if you're out there on Microtech yourself at some point, definitely give this one a go and see those turns that I'm talking about, and see just how easy or hard they can be to
Yeah,
go
there's
around.
a lot of room there for I keep using that term skill expression. Like especially
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that in Heat 2, like we did see a bunch of racers in Ice Grip. Like obviously it seemed as if like they had 2 very different understandings of when or how to use the boost on the different track, because when it comes down to it, when you have tracks down to a science, you kind of have your lines like memorized. You know exactly when using boost. It's not, oh, I have boost, I'm going to use it. It's, I need to use boost at this turn. And what we saw was like
yeah,
a varying I guess decisions when it came to like when to apply that boost. Unfortunately, we did see people lose their vehicles like during Frostbite Pass and Ice Grip to the eastern
yeah,
side of the track there. And I feel as if, I mean, like, sadly, when it comes down to these tracks, a lot of it, uh, because of the way the game is, like, can come down to just knowing the track and knowing where certain obstacles are going to be more lethal. You know, like we saw somebody essentially blow up
yeah.
while hovering over like a small collection of rocks there. But yeah, like it's a neat track. I look forward to seeing how it goes, man, especially for the finals, you know, for the fastest racers who know this track like the back of their hand. It's going to be fun.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Now, let's talk about who we're about to see in this next little heat, which they're
All
just about
right.
ready. They're getting very, very close. Who are we going for, Maya? Oh, sorry, I just F5'd, so I have to look it up again. Who are we going for? Amarok's
Well,
Fang with Big
yes.
Flex, Black Hawks with Ludox, Star Prime Racing with Renlos Malik, or Garden Racing with Tyrus Rex?
Well, I mean, we all know that Blackhawks just won race 1, so they're kind of the race to watch there. And also, you know, like their favorite vehicle is the Nox. So I feel as if like they are going to be the ones to watch. Now, our buddy Space
Yep.
Tomato has some representation here with Garden Racing
Mm-hmm.
and Tyrus Rex. So I suppose eyes will be on them, but obviously Amarok's Fang, they made their way through into the System 7 this year through a buy from being one of our fastest racers last year. So Big Flex is
Yep.
also a racer to watch for sure. I mean, let's be real. All of them are racers to watch. And you even mentioned Renlos Malik as well being, you know, like a prime contender for, for the podium. So I suppose we'll wait.
Yeah.
I'll have to wait and see. But so far, the
Mm.
numbers say Blackhawk. So we'll see.
Okay. Okay. Our 1 minute timer has just started. So before we get into that, which I'll take this one, Maya.
All right.
I think this one's going to go to Amarok's Fang with Big Flex, a racer that I was
All
really,
right.
really impressed by last year. that I want to see continue again. Now, obviously, I want Garden Racing to do as well as they can, because I believe if you win the S7, you're in Garden Racing, you actually take Space Tomato's place as CEO. That's what I've heard, and you can quote me on that, and then Keenan can come yell at me. But yeah, I think Amarok's Fang are probably going to pick this one up. It's really hard to tell though; they're just all so impressive. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 10 seconds left. Are you ready? Let's see some hype in the chat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, I timed that perfectly.
All right. That was amazing.
I timed that perfectly.
That was cool to see. And also what's cool to see is because we now have some daylight in the morning of Microtech here, that we got to see those ship skins as well. And, as you said, your ship skins do make you go faster. So we'll see who has the fastest skin.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, because it is very early morning and our racers don't have their lights on, because, it's sort of at that stage, it's going to be very hard for us to actually see what these racers are doing for a little bit. But don't worry. We'll if you look out for the tails, you can see just there all of the snow that they sort of pick up off the ground.
You may have missed it, but I just saw some blue flares happening there on the left side of the screen. It looks like we may have already lost one of our racers here, Croncy.
Oh no.
But as you said, hold your breath, because it could just be Papa Freedom.
It could always be Papa Freedom. You never know. That's fine. It looks like we're going to be getting a confirmation in just a moment.
Okay. So, again, this is golden hour right now on Microtech, so our racers here aren't necessarily going to want to use their headlights, but thankfully, because of how fast the daytime is, it's less golden hour, more golden minute. As you can now see the racers contrasted on that white ice, Croncy, making their way round past, of course, that, what did we call that part of the racetrack again? Like Aurora Borealis, and through Prime Drift into lap 1. Lap 2 even.
Yep. Garden Racing are going to be our first team across the board, but close, very behind is Amarok's Fang. So Garden Racing with a 129.772.
Okay, Garden Racing.
It sounds like we did, as far as I can tell, it sounds like we may have had a player collision between Renlos Malik and Ludox. We'll get confirmation about if we have those teams still on the field. But yeah, this is what we were talking about. One of the sort of advantages of the track itself that sort of makes it a little bit interesting is that you do actually have to fight for position a lot more, but that can obviously result in player collisions.
That's right. Especially since Blackhawk was one of our racers to look out for, right? When it comes down to it, they were on paper our fastest racer. But yeah, as we can see there, Ludox from Blackhawks and also Renlos Malik, they must have collided with one another. They have a very similar total time.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Very, very rough, bit unfortunate, but well done regardless. A great, great job from you guys today, and thank you for coming for our first ever double race event that we've ever done. But now we get into, can Garden Racing and Amarok's Fang break away from each other? They were essentially right on top of each other. Here we go. Tyrus Rex over the finish line with a 125.167. Amarok's Fang 6 seconds behind. So we're actually in a very similar situation as we were in heat heat 1, but race 2. The race that we watched just before this, where we had two competitors very close together, and one little mistake may cost them that 6 seconds. So hopefully we get some footage of this. A reminder that the way the heats work, if you get first place, you go straight to the finals of the heats, which means you are guaranteed top 4 for points. So the difference between coming first and second in your preliminary heat is quite massive. It's a really big deal.
That's right. And so right now, Tyrus Rex holds a lap time of 125.167, which will put them very close, if not faster, than the previous fastest time that was held by the racer from Heat 1. But yeah, so far so good. We'll see if they can shave that time down even further. Someone in chat actually mentioned that Tyrus holds the top time for this track, but I'm not sure with which leaderboard.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I do know that Gerbo the Gnome does have the world record currently in the Nox for a 2-lap race with 2 minutes 40 seconds. Tyrus Rex does, however, have current third place with 2 minutes 51 seconds. So still incredibly fast for a 2-lap race. And there we go. They're crossing again. Amarox Fang closing that gap from 6 seconds to 2 seconds. So did a ton of work in that lap. We're in our last 2 laps. You just need to fight for it.
That's right. And it looks like Big Flex now holds the fastest lap time so far with 1 minute and 22.1 seconds. So yeah, apparently Garbo's top average time here is 1 minute and 18 to 19 seconds. We'll see if anybody can do that live though.
Yep. So yeah, 122 best lap of the day, and it's unsurprising that they were able to, make that much difference in that amount of time. This is, like I said, this is the sort of stuff that I wanted to see. I wanted to see these kind of fights over, the course of a couple of laps, grabbing those few seconds down. But obviously, with the amount of times that we just saw on SCR there, it's very, very close. Now, I do want to, from this view here, it does look like Tyrus may be by themselves, but, StarCitizen, it's very possible we just don't see Amarok Fang's marker. In fact, I do see, I think, a ship there that doesn't have a marker on it right next to Tyrus Rex. No. I imagine that is Big Flex there. So, yeah. Here we go. They're about to come past the finish line again. I imagine they're right on top of each other going into the last.
Did you see that?
That's an explosion, but who was it? That must have been Big Flex because Amarok's Fang.
Oh no!
No! Tyrus Rex is down on the final lap into the final turn into the last lap on that collision, trying to take it a little bit tight. Gets that collision, gives Amarok's Fang that 2 second. That fight was so huge between the two of them. You had to take that kind of risk to get those faster times. A brutal ending to their first
the humanity
heat today. But luckily, Garden Racing, we're going to be seeing again pretty soon in the semi-final heats. Wow. The only way that could have been better is if it was the actual last lap.
Right. Yeah, because there is, of course, 1 lap to go. But yeah, rip, look at that. That was the, I believe that turn was called the Prime Drift. And they cut that as close as they humanly could. And I suppose they paid the price for it there.
Yep. There we go. Well done. We'll get confirmations on all the times and everything in a moment, guys. But yeah, it is looking to be quite a stacked finals and not semifinals, finals and the other one. Not semifinals.
Finals and
runner-up
also,
finals.
Yes.
Finals and runner-up finals. There we go.
I was like, But yes, it looks like Big Flex has just finished there again with a total time of 7 minutes and 13 seconds. The fastest lap time of 1 minute, 22 seconds, 0.1, making them our fastest racer so far, Croncy.
Yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic one to watch. Also, a great way to get a bit of an understanding of how collisions with other members of the team can come into it in these races. It's just so tight in some of these turns.
That's right. All right. Okay. So, yeah, I think that's going to be that for Heat 3, which means that there's only 1 more heat left before, of course, the runner-up and then the finals here, Croncy, for race 2 of the System 7.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. A reminder that currently our advances, we have Captain Chaos from Lease Motorsport. In our finals heats, we have Captain Chaos for Lease Motorsport, Circa Worm from Catcom Alpha, and Big Flex from Amarok's Fang. 1 more place to be decided for them. In our runners-up finals, we currently have Venture Origins number 2 with Isotope, Hugh Crop from Eva Ria, and Tyrus Rex from Garden Racing. So, sorry, Max Sane from Argo Navis, not Hugh Crop from Eva Ria. I apologize. So, 2 spots left, 1 in each of those heats. The amount of points that you get differs quite wildly from the top 4 to the 5th through 8. So it's going to be a big big fight here for those last place positions. A reminder that the way that we do points in this is very similar to the F1. The higher you position at the end of the race, the more points you get. And in these heats, these heat-based races, it's literally just about where you position. The 90% rule and whatnot doesn't really come into it because we need to have people actually advance into those heats in order to have those heats.
Exactly. Yeah, it's looking like with Circle 1 moving into the finals, they stand a chance to actually pulling themselves way ahead of everybody else really early on for the System 7, because I believe they came in second place for race number 1, correct? So yeah, like if they get 25 more points, that's gonna pull them way ahead from the rest of the pack here, Croncy.
Yeah. A big shout out at the moment to our teams on the ground there doing the nasty work of getting rid of all of those dead Noxes so that we don't have the issue of ramming into a wreck when we begin the next heat. We appreciate you guys a ton. Thank you very much for all your work. And to all the races for being incredibly quick. The races have been really, really awesome and well organized today. So thank you very much, guys. I mean, we're already at the stage that I think all 4 of our races are ready. So we're just going to finish up cleanup and we'll essentially be on the way.
Yeah, it's such a cool thing to see as well, because everything is being done live, like on the live servers as well. But now we have vehicles that are available to like actually help to clear the track out with like tractor beams and stuff like that. It's really cool. It makes this entire thing just feel so much more alive. It feels so much more like we're living this. Which kind of makes those close-up cameras of the the crash races a bit grim, but yeah, it's all part of it, man. This is the UEE, just a flesh wound.
So, heat number 4, Maya. We've got Punch Nomies with Gerbo the Gnome, SPG Racing with Kebuka. I tried to say this last week and I absolutely butchered it. Kebukai Des. Delta Didus Racing with That Goofy Gamer Girl, and Novak Racing with Uphill Geordie. Where's your favoritism at?
My favoritism is gonna have to sadly be with Punch Nomies, obviously. I mean, like, hey, they were the fastest last year. I mean, like, they were really fast during the qualifiers as well, even though they didn't have to be, And also, Gerbo the Gnome is one of the people who put this track together, which kind of means that, and I believe they also hold the fastest time as well, or at least one of them. So that kind of makes them a very, very hot Nox to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, no, that's true. Gerbo is definitely going to be the favorite for this one for sure. I am, however, going to go for Delta Didus Racing just because I really enjoyed what the team was able to do in race number 1 today. Let's see if they can run a bit of performance back here and get another solid sort of ending here. In the past, what we have seen with the System 7 is there's only been a few times where we've had people get first like every single race, you know what I mean? Usually the person who ends up winning at the end of the I was going to say region. That's not the phrase I'm looking for. The league. The people who end up winning at the end of the league are the ones who are consistently in the top 3, specifically. So if we can see Delta Didus do that again, awesome. That definitely puts them as towards a favorite for the entire series. And it looks like we're just about ready for the next one, Maya. So I'll give this one to you because we're going back and forth.
All right. Okay.
So they're gonna get their timer there in a second.
Okay, and I'm ready for it. Yeah, this is going to be a good one. I have a good feeling about this one.
I have a good feeling about all of them.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? I mean, like, in our previous heat, only one survived. What's it going to be like this time around?
I mean, it's very possible the same thing happens again. But like I said, it's been really nice that the majority of the collisions that we've had today have been mostly avoidable. I'm sure Desync has come into it today for sure. It's once again, it's StarCitizen. It happens, it's sort of just what we've got to deal with at the moment. And I want to quickly shout out Beacon, the Beacon events, which is a great event that is happening very soon. And I'm definitely not shouting them out for any reason in the Twitch chat, not at all.
Thank you for the raid, Beacon. And again, yeah, like that's going to be a really cool event in Belgium in May. And yeah, I'll be there, and I'm
Yep.
looking forward to it because yeah, like I believe throughout the years they've had like devs from CIG show up and things too. So it'd be nice to
Yep.
get their ear, you know, like to do some interviews and that kind of thing as well. Biggest fan Star Citizen event of the year
I would love to get an event like that in Australia.
in Australia.
Unfortunately, because everyone who plays Star Citizen either lives in Perth in Western Australia or in Sydney or Melbourne, aka 6 hours away from each other, it's a little bit hard to get everyone to go to the one location.
I can imagine. All right, it looks like our 1 minute timer has started now for this race. So let's get ready. Again, we have Garbo the Gnome from Punch Nomies, Kebukai from SPG Racing, that goofy gamer girl from Delta Dietus Racing, and Uphill Geordie from Novak Racing. Let's see how it goes. And again, you know, like we do have some house favorites here. You know, like we have Punch Nomies who came in I guess first place last year. They are of course the amalgamation of Herbie and Gerbo the Gnome. Let's see how they do. But again, hopefully there isn't too much pressure on them, Croncy. I hope we haven't put the commentator's curse on them. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We have 15 seconds to go. Races for Heat 4. In 10 seconds, we're gonna get this thing on. We're gonna go in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Pretty well timed there, Maya. Pretty well timed.
All right.
Not gonna lie.
Well, thank you very much. You know, like I count every day.
Alrighty, we are off, and this heat, everyone is right on top of each other. This is already a way more terrifying heat than we've had for the previous 3, because pretty much every single case we've had a situation where there was like maybe 2 sort of groups, so you know, like everyone would be sort of situated with each other. So this is a lot more scary, and we literally have the current world record holder for this track in this heat. So the fact that everyone is right there, I feel like we're going to see some collisions.
Well, so far so good as they make their way past the far eastern part of the track in Frostbite Pass, making their way through Sandman's Return. In this open straight here, they can pick up all the speed they want. And as you can see, Novak is pushing through with that boost, almost then getting head-to-head there with Nomies as they make their turn round through into Aurora Borealis, somehow being able to stick there and then weave through. There's that island, and so far, so good. It's super close between Novak and Punch as they make their way round to the penultimate part of the track. That is the prime drift. Our camera's going around to catch these guys swing around, and that's going to be lap number 1. And as we can see, Gerber the Gnome has lap number 1 in the bag there with 1 minute and 23 seconds. But right behind is Uphill Geordie with 125 and Goofy Gamer Girl with 126.8. A supremely close competition.
Yeah, we do have our first explosion here from this heat with Kebukai Des. Unfortunately, they have been out of it, but a difference of 3.2 seconds from our first to third position. So already incredibly close for these guys. Any mistake here? I mean, we were talking about, you know, technically Heat 1, but Race 2 that we watched, and how close the distance was between those 2 competitors. And then, you know, one collision cost them like a whole 6 seconds and essentially cost them the whole race. Imagine it now. It's already kind of insane. Not to mention already having a 123.68 on lap number 1.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, those are hot lap times right there being done immediately there by all these guys. It's really, really cool to see. But here we have now Gerber the Gnome. It looks like the competition has been sifted out a tiny bit. They're now kind of almost by themselves as they make their way through Prime and in to lap number 3 here with 120.
120.185, followed by Uphill Geordie with a 120.863.
Jeez.
So right behind Gerbo. These times are absolutely insane. By far today, so far, the fastest racing that we've seen, and a lot of competition within that as well. So
we can't even see Geordie.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
I do
crazy.
think as well. I think I mentioned earlier that Kebikai Des had a DNF. It looks like that has been errated, possibly, and that it was actually that goofy gamer girl with the DNF for Delta Dietus
Ah.
Racing, and I believe that they are out of it, unfortunately. But Kebikai Des still in it, I think, currently in their lap number 2.
Yeah, it looks like a Papa Freedom here in this Mirai Fury has their work cut out for them, trying to chase Gerbo as they make their way through these straights. It looks like now they're coming
These
through
turns.
yet again. Yeah, past Aurora Borealis. This is a really interesting turn. It's one of these things you can just like, you know it, right? Like from a
Yeah.
distance, it's really hard to miss. Here's the Prime Drift. They're going to make their way round and through for yet another lap here. Let's see if they can beat their time here, Croncy.
Yeah, going into lap number 4, SPG Racing also just completed their lap number 2 into lap 3. So it's also possible we might see an overtake here. The distance is very short in between Punch Nobis and Novak Racing. Neither of these races is giving up any amount of edge. They've been there, sitting there essentially since lap number 1, competing for that top time. This is a great race to see and a great amount of competition here. You can see them just there, only just a little bit behind them. But like we said, this track can be rough if we get one of these turns a little bit too wide or a little bit underturn. It's going to cost them that position for sure.
That's right. We now have Gerbo going through Frostbite Pass and into that lovely straight of the Sandman's Return on that ice. Here it goes. So far, so good. And it's just been textbook from Gerbo so far. It's just been really smooth sailing for him. And that is also with all these other vehicles coming right behind them, the stress of having a Mirai Fury like right alongside you. I can't imagine what this is like compared to like just chilling and doing this by yourself.
Yeah, I have to mention every time I watch this Fury lock onto Gerbo, my brain goes like, oh, just what if you like put a couple of shots in there though? What if why not? You know, it's the target's right there. It feels like an easy hit. That's all I'm saying.
Make it more cinematic. Why not?
There we go. Going home with another fastest lap, beating his previous best, this time with a 1:20.143. So just ever so slightly beating their previous best here today. Reminder that Gerbo does currently have the world record. But once again, not to be undone, shown, if you will, by Uphill Geordie, only a little less than 5 seconds behind Gerbo.
That's right. This is going to be an unfortunate pairing here because if Geordie was in any of the other heats, they'd be making their way into the finals. No problem here with what they've shown us so far here, Croncy. But that's the way it goes. Gerbo so far, however, now making their way back into Sandman's Return. And so far, so good for the current world record holder.
Yeah, let's see as well if Gerbo can push that last lap to the very, very edges and maybe improve on that current fastest time of today already. Remember, trying to beat a 1:20.143, already insanely fast, but it's good to see that everyone on their sort of fastest laps is around that 1:20, 1:25 range, because we're going to be watching that for our final 2 heats of the day, which is going to come up very soon. We're going to have our runner-up finals and our full finals. However, coming around the final turn now, past the Carricks, Punch Nomis is going to take this one for heat number 4 and advance all the way to the grand finals. Still not to be outdone, though, really. Novak Racing, Uphill Geordie, an amazing performance. Would have given them the win in any other heat by far. He's going to lock up second place and advance to runner-up finals. Well done.
That's right. Good job from all the racers. And again, yes, it's unfortunate for Uphill Geordie, but that's the way it goes. I'm sure they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, however, though, in the runner-up finals, Croncy.
Yeah, 100%. That was really, really fun to watch. Very much enjoyed that. Also, well done, Kebikai Des from SPG Racing, going through your final lap now. An amazing performance from you as well. Unfortunately, we didn't have those collisions that we were looking out for to get you across that extra finish line. But some great times. A personal best for them, or of today at least, of a 1:26.51, which also would have put them in the running in the other heats that we saw here today. So this was a super competitive heat to watch. Like, this could have been a finals heat. You know what I mean? If
for sure.
Together.
Yeah, 100%. It felt like it the entire way through. I mean, like Punch and Novak were neck and neck the entire way. I mean, like the the track time, the disparity between that was like was fractions of a second. They did so well. It was really awesome to see, and I do hope that like moving into the finals, we'll just see more of that as well. But we have a really cool shot here, Croncy, of all our auxiliary ships here, all the ships of our track team that helped to make this possible. We've got ourselves the SRVs, the 300Is, the of course the auspiciously colored MSR in what you can only assume as being the Atmo Esports livery. It takes a village to get this production to you guys, and thanks to everybody for helping to make it happen for sure.
Yeah, I keep on saying 100%, and then my brain says stop saying 100%. But like, I do agree with everything you just said.
100%.
So, 100%. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that we very, very soon, as we clean up, some more of these wrecks, as well as we get some fresh Noxen. Is that the
Noxen?
plural for
Please
Nox?
don't.
Noxes?
Please
Noxen?
don't just say Noxes. Don't say Noxen. Knock it off.
We're gonna get some fresh Noxen. Our runner-up finals, which will be coming up in a moment, we're going to again see Isotope from Venture Origins, Maxane from Argo Navis, Azon Keel from Garden Racing, and Comwharf from Novak Racing. Who are you looking forward to most seeing there?
Well, I mean, Garden Racing did show us like a really, really good race, honestly. I think that my UEC is on them. However, Uphill Jordy did such a valiant effort. I think that it's going to be tough to beat. I mean, like, they were so consistent. They were just 0.7 of a second slower than, again, the world record holder for this track. That is ridiculous. So, yeah, we'll see.
Now, interestingly, it looks like Uphill Jordy is not racing for Team Novak here. So that'll be Comwharf, from what I can tell, which is, another one of these advantages of having a large team is you can
driver swap
and get yourselves in these positions, which is also great just in general if you are looking to join the System 7 in the future. Sometimes people can't race on certain weekends. Sometimes people get sick. I, as someone who for 2 years in a row raced as a solo racer, would never recommend that. Please get a team. It makes life so much easier. But yeah, so that's going to be an interesting change there. So we'll see how that sort of works out for them. I definitely, once again, I was talking about Garden Racing earlier. They're one of my teams that I'm really hoping performs extremely well this year. And this is a great start going into the runner-up finals of race number 2. And with the times that we did see between, it was Azon and... it was Tyrus Rex and Big Flex that we saw compete from Garden Racing and Amarok's Fang. But seeing that... I'm excited to see what Azon Keel can do in the runner-ups. I think it's going to be a solid race. That's who I'm going for. I still love all the races. It just means I love this person more. That's okay, right?
There's nothing wrong with that, right? But yeah, I'm intrigued because they're doing a driver swap, aren't they? Right? Like, so Uphill Jordy is.
We've got a couple of driver swaps here.
Yeah. So we'll see. How it goes, because right now I don't have a feel for like who's gonna make it through for the runner-up finals, but either way, I've got my money on Garden Racing. Perhaps I got my UEC on them.
Now, interestingly, we'll talk a little bit more about it after we watch the runner-up finals. But apparently, even though Gerbo just crushed it for Team Punch Namies, in the finals, Gerbo will not be participating. It's going to be Quelsar.
Really?
That one. So,
okay.
Yeah. Now, I do know, once again, I've mentioned it earlier, Quelsar is an absolutely fantastic racer and 100% is deserving of the praise that he receives. But Gerbo does have the world record. So I wonder why they've made this choice. I truly do. Even sometimes it'll even come down to like what region are you in. We want to make sure we've got the best ping sort of thing, right? We want to make sure we've got the least desync, whatever it is, may be a factor here. Apparently it is a typo. Gerbo is still going. So never mind everything I just said about Quelsar. Quelsar's a bad racer and is cringe. No, I'm joking. Quelsar, please don't. You're so much faster than me. No, fair enough. Fair enough in that case. But yeah, everything I just said, ignore, I guess.
All right. But yeah, I mean, that makes a lot more sense to see the world number one trying to hold that position there for the System 7 at the very least here. But yeah, they're
Sorry,
all lined up.
I also have some
Mhm.
more. I have some more confirmations. It is uphill
Okay.
Geordie, not Comworth, and it is Tyrus Rex for Team Garden Racing. So all of that is fine. We will be seeing
Okay.
the races that we did see in the previous races. We will be seeing. So we will get more. We're going to get to see them more. We saw uphill Geordie get really, really close to beating Gerber the Gnome. Their competition, I think, in the runner-up finals is going to be Tyrus Rex because they had some very similar times. So yeah, don't worry, guys. We're getting all of that sorted out, and that's who we're going to see.
All right. I don't know
Yeah, just
whose
always
Nox that
ignore me.
is.
I think that's a good strategy.
I don't know whose Nox that is in the foreground, but it has a bit of a ding in it. I wonder if it's for luck.
A ding for good luck. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
the worst idea. I mean, luckily, the ding's on the top, and I feel like that's the spot that's the least likely to crash into anything. I hope, possibly.
Fair point. Yeah, fair point. But yeah, again, I'm in love with the skins and stuff for the Nox. I didn't actually realize there were that
Yes.
many, like, or the variety of them. In my
Yeah, the
mind, it's
yellow.
always just been like
Oh,
the Nox and the Nox Q. Yeah, the yellow. It's like
yeah.
ammo
The
esports
yellow's
colors.
so nice.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, we had I think they were like subscriber paints that we got like early last year.
Okay.
And it was for the Nox, the Cyclone, and I want to say the STV, possibly.
Mm.
And there was a blue and white, a yellow and white, and there may have been another color there. But I love those bright colored paints. They're so nice. Like there's no bonus to using them really, but it makes me feel good about myself, and I imagine that makes me faster.
Yeah, at least in your imagination. That being said,
Yeah.
like, you come first in this, and all of a sudden, like, your skin's gonna be a little bit more popular. Yeah, looks like we're just about to get ready now. All our racers are
Yep.
lined up, some without pants for that extra speed.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you're aerodynamic. So a reminder: this is going to be Isotope from Venture Origins 2, Maxane from Argo Navis, Tyrus Rex from Garden Racing, and Uphill Geordie from Novak Racing. So we've been watching these guys all today. They've had some great competition. I'm excited for this one to go. I guess we did it already, but we got the confirmation of the races. So last time, Maya, who are you putting your UEC on?
Okay, all right. For the last time, my UEC, because Jordy is back, it's gonna have to be Jordy. They did so well in Heat 4. Again, had they been against anybody but the person who holds the world record, it would have been a no-brainer. They would have been in the finals.
Yeah,
So yeah, my money is
yeah.
on Jordy because they need this run back.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think I did still say this before Garden Racing, but seeing Tyrus Rex there again, sort of once again puts it in like, all right, yeah, we're going hard. We got to see their fight with I believe it was Ludox from Blackhawks earlier. Yes,
Mhm.
we got to see their fight against. Oh no, sorry, from Big Flex from Amarok's Fang. We saw their fight there, and it was so tight, and it was very, very impressive to watch. So I think my UEC goes there. But that does mean that if Argo Navis or Venture Origins win, you can come to my or Maya's streams and force us to give you UEC. That's how this works together, guys.
At least one. At least one UEC.
Yeah. All right.
In
Their
this
1 minute
economy,
timer has
that's a
started.
lot.
So we're going to be starting any second, guys. We're going to be starting any second. Maya, I'll take this one, which means I'm going to
All
give you the
right.
finals. Do you reckon
Okay.
you can handle that?
No, but let's go. I'll try. I'll try. Yeah, it looks like a storm is coming
Let's.
up as well, Croncy. So yeah, this is going to be a very interesting track for these
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, when you get to about like the mid-ish day, at like around Microtech, that sort of starts happening. All right, 10 seconds, guys, before these guys get going. Let's hear some hype in the chat for your runners-up final, race number 2, System 7, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, and
From
here we
my
are
view, that
for.
was absolutely perfect. I'm getting much better at this.
That was pretty sick. Yeah, especially with your Australia ping. How you doing that? It's wild.
Yeah. I was just guessing.
There we go. Of course, there's uphill Jordy making their way through the obstacles uh, of this race here. There's, the black straight through into Ice Grip and Frostbite Pass. The first 3 turns, and so far so good.
Yep.
All
Yep, there
races
we go.
super close, but
That
no
turn through
collisions just
ice.
yet.
That
Hmm.
Yeah, that turn through Ice Grip, especially when like all 4 races are still there, is terrifying. Truly, truly terrifying.
Yeah, I want to say that like lap number 1 is just generally the scariest one because all the racers tend to be the closest together. You know, like as the
Yep.
laps kind of progress, you do see like some separation of the race, but it doesn't seem to be much of that happening right here. Uphill Jordy in the lead, but Tyrus Rex just behind by fractions of a second. It
Yep.
looks like.
Yeah, incredibly close this is going to be for the majority of the race. Trust me, guys, this is going to be huge. Hopefully, we don't have an issue where we had a couple of heats ago where Tyrus Rex collided on this final turn here in the, I believe it was going into lap 5 from lap 4. It was very rough there. But there we go. We have our first racer across the line. The time for that, there we go. And we have Garden Racing across the line. So that is going to be a 123.149 for Uphill Geordie, a 125.614 for Tyrus Rex. Unfortunately, a DNF from Venture Origins Isotope. That is going to be them out of the race today, but that is going to be them securing an 8th place, which does give you some points. It does give you, more than 1 point. So that's one of the big advantages to being in the runners-up finals. Yes.
Yeah. All right, and we will show you guys what the point breakdown is after this race. But here we do have, again, Uphill Geordie making their way around and into what we call the Sandman's Return, this long, icy straight before a hook into Aurora Borealis, which is that island you'll see to the right-hand side of this Nox as they make their way left over here. But yeah, so far it looks like Geordie is uncontested, it almost seems like. But again, because of how fast these bikes go, like Garden Racing could be just behind this Fury as they make their way around this last turn of the race.
I was going to say, we are following them so closely that it's very possible Garden Racing is just out of frame, just behind them. So we'll notice in a second. So there we go. Novak Racing with a 2:44.313 lap time, currently a 1:21. And then Garden Racing 5 seconds behind at the moment. So yeah, essentially just out of frame here. Argo Navis as well, still on the track, has completed their first lap. That actually was them just then, that Uphill Geordie has lapped. But, we've talked before about sometimes the best strategy is to take it a little bit slower and take it a little bit safer to secure yourself some points. And
speaking of
Uphill
safer,
Geordie colliding directly into the hill just before the turn out of Ice Grip. That is super rough. That is going to be a DNF for Novak Racing. And as long as Argo is able to complete one more lap and get past Novak, that's going to put them into 6th place. Huge for Tyrus Rex there, putting them ahead. That's massive. That's absolutely massive.
That is huge. And talk about commentator's curse, talking about having to race slow or having to be, like cognizant about what's going on, or, going slow and just taking it easy. And immediately after you said that, we lost our fastest racer. But them's the breaks.
Yep.
Now we have Garden Racing in first place.
Yeah, very likely. Unfortunately we don't have replays today, but it's very likely due to how the collision happened there. You may have seen that they essentially just went straight into the wall. There was no turning or anything like that. It's very likely they've come around so fast and so maneuverable that they've actually blacked out. And that's a spinny boy.
Tyrus, what's going on, my friend?
He's alive. He's alive.
Now is not the time for stunts.
Small collision there. Still alive, though. So Tyrus Rex going into lap number 4. Argo Navis into lap number 3. And once again, if they do get past that one turn, they're going to get past Novak Racing. But the fact that we had someone collide today from a blackout in Gravlev vehicles, like once again, this track, when you are going super fast, it can cater towards that. But it really does just show how fast maneuverable these vehicles are, even though they are glorified space bikes, if you will. has just been so fun to watch. So hopefully, because I did just see Tyrus Rex with a little bit of collision damage there again, maybe maybe calm down a little bit. You've still got one other competitor on the ice
Yeah,
here.
we do. It might be a
But
case of
yeah,
slow and steady wins the race with Argo Navis still in third in lap 3 there. But yeah, Tyrus is, yeah, as you said, just dinged another rock, and it does not take much for these Noxes to explode. But so
no,
far, so good as they
no.
make their way through the Sandman return.
Yeah, what a fantastic run-up race so far. Now, Uphill Geordie does still have the best lap. Obviously, they no longer on the field, but they do have the best lap today of this heat with a 121.164. So certainly something to be said about Tyrus maybe trying to improve on that one. There is obviously a certain level of I guess respect that can be gained from the community with getting fastest laps. And here we have Garden Racing going into their final lap right now with a race time of 5:58.363.
That's right, doing some good work here, making the way now through the Black Ice Strait and into that first turn ice grip, where we just saw ourselves lose. Of course, Uphill Geordie. We'll see if Tyrus can keep it together and avoid these rocks as they make their way through and into the rest of the course. We haven't seen Argo Navis. I think we saw them get overlapped once here. They just made their way now through into lap number 4. But so far, slow and steady for Argo Navis.
Yeah. As we approach the end of this race, the end of the runner-up finals, Venture Origins should pick up 2 points from this one. Racing should pick up 3. And then, I mean, I don't want to call anything yet because there's still, like 2 turns left. But assuming that nothing changes, Argo Navis should pick up 4 points and Garden Racing should pick up 6 points. So a very solid start to the first 2 races of the event, but still plenty more to go. Remember, we've got 5 more full races after today, right? Over the course of the next month and a half, where myself and Maya will be taking you guys through. I think I won't be here for 2 of the races, unfortunately, Maya, which is a shame, but we'll see. There we go. Garden Racing crossing the finish line for our runner-up finals, securing themselves 6 points and securing Argo Navis 4 points as well for their second place finish. Well done, guys. Congratulations. A great job today. And honestly, Novak Racing, the respect that you gained from me for blacking out in the first place in this race is also extremely high because even risking the blackout is something to be respected, in my opinion. So very, very well done to our other competitors.
Yeah, they were pushing it, man. I mean, the competition is real with this race, and I look forward to seeing it continue with all these other vehicles, especially the less explosive ones. I mean, personally, I like the exploding vehicles, but then again, it'd be nice to see how these racers will be able to cut these tracks and stuff with things like the Lynx, things like the STV as well. But yeah, here we go. That's Argo Navis coming through for lap number 4. It seems like they may have clipped a rock there and slowed down. That's their race.
Well, that one, like we said, they secured second, right? They secured that second. Spot. So that is very funny though. So there we go.
That's
a collision there from Maxane.
Yeah, that's the same point that Space Tomato actually, Garden.
That Tyrus collided with in their original heat. Yeah,
exactly.
Roughly, essentially, it is that turn there. Yeah, but yeah, fantastic job from all our competitors in the runner-up finals. But what that means is that we only have one more heat left today. Now, Maya, we've been hanging. You and myself have been hanging out now for probably about 6 hours with all the pre-organizing everything. I've got to admit.
Mm-hmm.
Our first day of doing 2 races in the same day, it has gone surprisingly fast.
That's right. It's pretty much gone without a hitch, and again, I mentioned it's a testament to just how Atmo Esports has evolved over the few years, and also the game stability too, without 30Ks,
Yep.
I don't want to risk it. We have what we call the commentator's curse, and I feel like I am pushing it now. But yeah, when it comes to server stability, when it comes to just the professionalism of our TOs, it's been really cool to be able to do this and to be confident to do this, and also to do this like at a faster like rate than we've ever done before. It's been really cool. It's been
Yes.
awesome, and
Yes.
I look forward to
I
seeing how it goes for the subsequent races, Croncy.
Yeah. So I did just love we had a nice view there of the major hill in the center, the one that is just
Yeah.
around. One sec, I'll get up the map here. The one that is just around in between Aurora Borealis and Black Ice Strait, that massive island there.
Okay.
All we need there is a huge grandstand for people to sit in, and someone
We
selling
really do.
some Star Citizen ice creams and hot dogs.
Just land an 890 there and you'll be fine, I guess. Like a different clientele, but an
True.
890 jump there, just like watching from like the from I guess the atrium, whatever you call it, would be cool.
Yep.
It'd be worth the frame loss.
All right, going into the finals, we have Big Flex from Amarok's Fang, Captain Chaos from Lease Motorsport, Circa Worm from Catcom Alpha, and the current world record holder, Gerbo the Gnome from Punchinomies. This is a very, very intense finals for sure. Not only do we have the world record holder, but we have previous winners of the System 7, previous top 3 of the previous 7 of some System 7s. We have Lease Motorsport, who had our fastest time of non-auto qualified this year. And then we have Circo Worm, who performed probably one of the best heats we've seen today. Who are you going for, Maya?
I mean, this is a stacked finals here. I want to say that my money's on Gerbo. I mean, like, they have the most to lose here, I suppose, to a degree. No pressure, Gerbo. But also Circle Worm, I mean, again, they got a whole bunch of points in race 1 earlier today, so they're going to be wanting to get as many points here as possible. And I almost kind of feel myself rooting for them because of it, like, let's see that gap.
Yep.
But like, so I think maybe Circle Worm, but yeah, I think on paper it's gonna be Gerber the Gnome.
if it's not Gerbo, I'd be surprised, but that's not who I'm rooting for here.
All right, okay. Who are you rooting for?
I mentioned earlier, I really enjoyed how Lease Motorsport were able to do in the qualifiers, one of the better performing teams, and I want to see them continue to perform well. So I'm really hoping we get a great performance out of them for this race.
Right.
In addition, an extra prediction. I want someone else to black out, but I want them to black out specifically on the last lap.
Yes, a blackout crash would be like a chef's kiss on the last lap for sure. But yeah, as for rooting for anybody, I mean, to quote famous Murray Cup commentator Trevor Basque, as a commentator, I have to remain impartial.
Yeah.
But I do hope someone crashes.
Well, look, if I was not a commentator, the problem would be is that every race I would just say Team Punchinomies, and that'd be really boring. So I have to go for other people, and then I just pretend to not care what Punchinomies do.
All right, so we do have the finals now in 1 minute countdown. We are T-minus 1 minute now, guys, from the beginning of the final race here for race 2 of the System 7.
I think this is going to be your one, Maya, for the finals.
All right.
It's going to be your countdown to finish us off for the day.
Okay. Again, we have Gerber the Gnome from Punchinomies. I shall try my best, Croncy. We have Big Flex from Amarok's Fang, Captain Chaos from Lease Motorsport, and Circo Worm from Catcom Alpha. We have 10 seconds for the finals of race 2 of the Stanton 7. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Lovely. Well done, Maya.
I said Stanton 7, so, don't patronize me.
And there we go. This is once again, I mean, we just saw this happen with the last 2 heats. We finally have some heats where everyone is right on top of each other on the get-go. We're not really split into many teams, which is going to be very, very perilous for once we get into that turn between Ice Grip and Frostbite Pass. So, I mean, look at it right here. Look how tight this turn is.
This is ridiculous.
Terrifying.
All right, all of the eastern turns now done as our racers make their way through into the return. Gerber the Gnome, however, of course, in first place, our first racer to make their way westward. But right behind, Big Flex from Amarok's Fang is right behind them as well. This is all going to be going down now to boost control. Who's going to be able to make sure they have enough of this resource to keep going without, of course, blacking out? Here is our penultimate turn now. This is Aurora Borealis before, of course, that final return into lap 2. Garbo in great time here, Croncy.
Yeah, solid performance around the prime drift. Also a great, just like a great lap time for lap number 1 again. I believe they had a 123 in their original heat. This is a 121, so they're improving even on that. Amarok's Fang and Lease Motorsport crossing the finish line almost immediately afterwards. I'm not sure what's happening with Catcom. It looks like I did just see a message. Circo Worm has exploded, ladies and gentlemen. DNF for Circo Worm. Very unfortunate, but still in the finals, so they get that 4th place position, which is going to be an amount of points, which I'm going to tell you in a second when I browse the thing. That is still going to be 8 points for them, so it's still a great start to the System 7 overall, but a little bit unfortunate that they couldn't, extend that a little bit further. Yeah, let's see what happens here. I mean, Amarok's Fang were essentially literally right on the top of Punch Nomi's. Least Motorsport's not too far behind. I imagine those positions are going to change only ever so slightly over the course of the race.
That's right. They are right behind them, though. As they turn into Aurora Borealis, we might even see Amarok's Fang as we go round and through. It looks like we have a tight view here of Gerbo, so it looks like we might not be able to. But this looks like they're going to be making short work here of lap 2 here, Croncy, as they make their way down through Prime Drift.
Yeah, lap number 1 was a roughly 3.5 second difference between first and third place position. We'll see where we sit here, and that is a 120.245, incredibly fast, not fast. Their heat places. We then, so we've still got Amarok's Fang in second and Lease Motorsports a little bit further behind now on third. So I actually lost a bit of time there. There's now about a 9-second difference in between first and third place. So that gap is widening.
All right, and it might just widen even more as we go through more and more laps, because again, like the System 7 and all its tracks, the main thing here is all about consistency. Who can keep it up? Who can keep doing doing what they're doing and doing it the best? And of course, we do have the best for the track right now. Gerber the Gnome just showing us exactly what they're made of here, Croncy.
Yeah, this has been an excellent performance, but you've got to keep it still tight. Amarok's Fang, Big Flex has not fallen too far behind Gerbo, still about 3 seconds behind at the end of lap 2. So there's definitely still someone directly on your tail. Captain Chaos has fallen a little bit further behind than that, but we've already seen today there's been a ton of instances with very small minor collisions that happen that can cost you 5 to 10 seconds if you hit them the wrong way. So still got to watch out for all that sort of stuff. And then even those sort of turns right there, keeping it very tight as they come around that turn. And a sub 120
for there it is.
119.309 for that lap completion. Incredibly fast, and followed up by Captain Chaos with a 119.826. So 2 sub 120s in that lap. Insanely fast.
That's right. I mean, Captain Chaos may be in third place, but do not discount them just yet. Also, of course, we do have yet another contestant on the track, and that is all the boulders and rocks and stuff that can get in your way. So right now, in lap 4, we have Gerber the Gnome with a very, very healthy lead. But man, what did I say? The finals. Oh no, there's Papa Freedom on camera. They've been doing such a good job this entire System 7 race 1 and 2 with keeping up with these racers. And it's been hilarious seeing him nearly black out just trying to keep up with these Noxes. But there we go.
We do get a good view there of just how far away Big Flex is from Gerber the Gnome, essentially about a turn and a half away. So like I said, that distance has widened quite a bit. But with the times that these players are pulling off in these laps, with only really 1 lap to go in a second, because Punch Namies is about to get past their lap number 4, still anything could happen. It's incredibly, incredibly close. I do have a message from Captain Chaos that they are down. So we may have had a DNF from Captain Chaos from Lease Motorsports that we'll find out in a moment, hopefully. And Amarok's running now 8 seconds behind Punch Nomies. So we've gone from 2 seconds, 3 seconds to 5 seconds to 8 seconds. The consistency of Gerbo's laps has been very, very powerful.
That's right. Gerbo now with a 7.51 second lead here through that lap 5. Yeah, they're just making short work of the track. I think at this point in time, the writing is on the wall as to who's coming out on top here. It's going to be Gerbo with 25 points. All they need to do is just stick it, and maybe perhaps it might even see another best lap here, Croncy.
Hopefully, I mean, it'd definitely be a lot of fun in order for them to just like smash it out as quickly as they can for the last one. Let's see what happens. Gerbo with only a few turns left.
That's right. There's Aurora Borealis cutting through that little groove there. And with this final obstacle, with the Prime Drift, it's going to be Gerbo the Gnome, who's going to be our Grand Champion. Or I suppose Grand Champion for Race 2. That works? Yes, our finalist for Race 2. There we go. All right.
There we go. Winning race number 2, Gerbo the Gnome from Team Punch Nomies. Also with a lap time, best lap time of 1:19.309.
Nice.
An amazing performance today. Still, though, fantastic performance as well from Amarok's Fang, also returning since last year with a best lap of 1:20.89. Well done, competitors. An amazing race number 2. Some fantastic heats. And I really appreciate our races actually giving us some very entertaining fights as well throughout all those heats for us to watch. Us laymen here to watch at home.
I mean, don't sell yourself short, Croncy. I mean, like, you're up there with these guys. You just happen to be here with me.
I mean, look, if you go to the Arena Commander records and you look at how much time a racer like Gerbo has spent on those laps versus me, and Gerbo is still like 10 seconds faster than me, it's a little embarrassing. So, look, just don't look it up. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna hopefully get a leaderboard update for you guys really soon. We'll let you know when that's ready. Because Crucian was incredibly fast with it last time, so hopefully we have that again. But that is race number 1 and 2 done for the System 7. How you feeling, Maya?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think we all called it, right? Like, we thought that Gerbo was going to take this one home, take it in the back, and they did. And what a show indeed it was. I mean, because at the end of the day, even with a 7-second lead, it wasn't just easy, you know? Like, Big Flex came with a hot lap of 120, Captain Chaos as well with 119.8. We had a lot of fast racers, and it's so cool to see that level of competition like funnel down all the way into the finals like this. And I just cannot wait to see how these races fare with our next race, Croncy.
Yeah, speaking of our next race, will be in 2 weeks' time, ladies and gentlemen. Race number 3, which we showed you guys a little bit earlier, is going to be Snake Pit Reverse with Cyclone RCs. We got to do this last year, not in reverse, and we also had boost last year, so it's in a very, very different race than it was. And if the System 7 has taught me anything, it's you don't even know who the top 8 are going to look like until about race 3 and race number 4. So plenty of opportunities for people to really show their stuff and see what they can do this year. But this was a fantastic one to watch. Really, really enjoyed the heats this year. There goes Sevens. Luckily, we don't need that camera anymore, so that's fine. But yeah, this was a fantastic track as well. I'm really hoping we get to reuse this one again. And if I was to, put my 2 cents into it, this would definitely be a track that I would recommend CRG put into Arena Commander. They've been very supportive of community-made tracks over the course of the last 2 years. I would really hope that they put this one in, because it looks like a lot of fun and drives like a lot of fun, and certainly entertaining to watch.
It's a very clean track, and a very clean track with very delineated turns and stuff. You could see, even as a viewer, from the Fury, exactly where these racers were and exactly what turns they had left to do. It's a really nice one and well put together in general. So I hope to see it in AC too.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get confirmation in a second, guys, to see if we can get our leaderboard updated. But I will quickly let you know. So we had first place Gerbo the Gnome from Punch Gnomies, second place Big Flex from Amarok Spang, third place Captain Chaos from Least Motorsports, fourth place was Circo Worm from Capcom Alpha. And if you missed the runner-up finals, we had Tyrus Rex from Garden Racing pick that one up, followed by Maxane from Argo Navis, Uphill Geordie from Novak Racing, and Isotope from Venture Origins. So all of those teams are going to be picking up some points and putting themselves in a great spot for the next month and a half.
While we wait for the point breakdown, can we actually have the chart to see exactly what points are going to be awarded to what places as well? I think that'd be just cool to show people who are just joining exactly how that works with our point structure breakdown. All right, so take it away, Croncy.
Yeah, so obviously we just watched race number 2. So what you're going to look at there is over towards the side, the race number 2 and 5 only. Those are how the points are going to be applied to our races today. So if you didn't make the runners-up finals or the finals, you're going to receive 1 point. And then, as we continue upwards, a bunch more points. It is unlikely every year that we ever have someone get more than 100 points. It has happened, but it is unlikely. So if you're ever thinking, well, where is this going to end up towards the end of the full series, you want to be aiming for about 90, at least in my opinion. That's where your goal should be for your team in order to get that top 3. You want to be looking at 90 points. So obviously, first place position is going to get you there pretty quickly, but do not be sullied on a second or third place position. It's relevant.
That's right. I mean, unless, of course, somebody within the System 7 is consistently first. If you on your team are consistently third, then there's still a high chance you're going to hit that podium in first. Because it's all about consistency at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we see every single year. And always our top 3 performers are just usually very consistently really within the top 6 or so.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's what we're going to see. So there we go. And then all the other races that we're going to have other than race number 5, just straight up this point system here, just wherever you position, that's how many points you got, like race number 1 that we had earlier today. However, a reminder that if we do have a situation again, like we had today, where we don't have as many finishes as we would maybe like to have, you can still get points. If you finish at least 90% of the race, you are still guaranteed the full amount of points you would get from wherever you positioned. Otherwise, you essentially get half the amount of points. So you still do get something for how far you get, but you still want to try to complete at least 90% of the race.
Another big thank you, though, to all the tournament organizers that made this happen. Everybody on the ground. Thank you to Cryo as well, making the thing work. Behind the scenes. Again, we said before, it takes a village to make this work. And thank you everybody in chat as well. Thank you to Beacon and Avenger 1 for the raids in as well. Yeah. Without the SC community, we wouldn't have anybody to present these races to. Without our racers, we wouldn't have, anybody to race. I'd just be shouting at a track. But yeah,
which is what Maya does anyway when he goes racing. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting.
That's how they found me. I was just screaming into a void,
It looks like we have the updated leaderboard, guys. So let's have a look after race number 1 and 2. Where are our teams positioned? With first place positions, makes sense that we're going to see Team Punch Gnomies and Blackhawks in equal first with 26 points each. Capcom Alpha and Amarok Fang with 20 points each. Delta Dietis with 19. Least Motorsport 13. Garden Racing with 7. Novak Racing with 6. Argo also with 6. Star Prime 5, Adventure Origins with 3, and then we've got Eva Ria, Wildcards Racing, AAWA, Premier Core Colonial, and SPG Racing all with 2 points. Well done, competitors. We're well and truly into the System 7. Is there anything else you would like to say, Maya?
I've already said my thank yous, Croncy, so I'll leave it to you. But man, look how close these guys are. First place to 5th place, only 7 points separate them, man.
We're 2 races in. See. We're 2 races in, Maya. It's going to be pretty close for a while here. We're probably, we're probably not going to know until maybe the 4th or the 5th race what our top 8 is starting to look like. And even then, there's still going to be fights for 8th, 7th, 6th position, regardless of sort of where we end up in a couple of races' time. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's a great start to it for sure. What I do want to say is if you guys want to participate in the System 7 or any other event that Atmo Esports run, please come and join the Discord. The link will be in the Twitch chat here for you, or if you're over on YouTube, it should be in the description. Make sure you guys check that out. We have a bunch of awesome events. System 7 by far my favorite event. I am not biased at all, I swear. If you guys want to support Atmo and maybe help contribute to some even cooler prizes and whatnot in the future, make sure to check out our merch as well. We unfortunately didn't have our merch ready for this System 7 yet today, but I have it under some authority that we will have it for next time, and I've seen a little image of them and they look fantastic, so make sure you guys check out the merch as well. And make sure to check out all of our socials, especially because we are going to verify all of the results from race 1 and race number 2 today and put out a proper official leaderboard update up on Twitter and whatnot. So make sure you guys check it out there. I think that's it.
Right.
Other than that, from myself, from the staff, from Maya, from all of the races as well, thank you very much, everyone, for watching the System 7, the start of the System 7. We're going to see you guys in 2 weeks' time for Snake Pit Reverse, and it's going to be a fun one. Have a good one, guys.
Peace.